It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, Miss Rusty. What's up, everybody? It is Thursday, the 24th of August. Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, welcome to the podcast, the public access podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. Check out other shows on the network like When the Gloves Come Off, the Thinking Man's Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is It with Lizzie and Say by the Ben. And the show is brought to you by Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Stoner Eats Productions, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock 'em Up. Go to sockemup.org. People need socks. SOCKEMUP.org. You can donate right there. Donate socks. Donate a little bit of money. It's easy. Easy. And yeah, you guys. Also, if you'd like, leave a message here. I'll play it on the show. 503-974-6420. Maybe you don't like leaving messages and you're just thinking,
Messages? We don't leave no stinking messages!
But I need messages. 503-974-6420. It's time to bring on our special guest right here, right now. We have Sara Davies right here, right now. There she is. How you doing, Sara?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. It's Thursday. Been doing a little unorthodox kind of life lately, so it's cool. I'm enjoying it. So yeah, it's back to recording podcasts, which I need to do and keep at it because I enjoy it and I enjoy getting to meet new people. And I mean, that's what it's about. That's what this is about, getting to, like I said, it's like we're walking by on the street, wherever you live. Where do you live? Not what's your address, but you don't need to tell me your address or what hours you're home or what routes you like walking, but where do you live?
I live in the UK in the Midlands, so
Okay.
people don't normally know where that is, but if you've heard of the Alton Towers, I live close to Alton Towers.
Okay, all right.
In the UK,
So it's like we're walking by the towers and I stop and I say, "Oh, hello," and then we hit record and then here we go. So so first up, so you are you doing like a podcast guest circuit right now, as it maybe called?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a circuit. You are my third podcast, so
Okay.
I'm not doing very many. I'm choosing with care podcasts that I choose to go and talk on, and so far only 3 have taken my fancy.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
You're most
I
welcome.
appreciate that. And so, I mean, if you're wanting to be on podcasts, it's either you are wanting to get a story out, wanting to get the word out about something, wanting to explore the world of whatever maybe on, or maybe you just like to talk, or maybe
I do.
I
I have a story to get out, but I do like to talk. I'm far more comfortable in a conversation than I am in other forms of getting one's message out into the world.
Yeah, I didn't want to come out like, so what I try to do, I try to make sure that it's not going to be, because I also have gotten very picky and choosy about which podcasts I'm on. And I want to make sure, like, because I've had somewhere, or I've had guests too, and I can just say, okay, if you want to know anything like what their main thing is, just refer back to this podcast. You're not going to get any of this here. Maybe a tiny bit, but that's only because out of my curiosity. Um, so I mean, as far as with what you're doing, are you like, are you doing I guess this kind of a question, I don't know that you'll probably get on the other ones, but I am curious about this. So to end up fully doing what you do, are you fully into it right now? Have you uh stopped everything else, or have you pivoted to something else, or have you added to what you're doing, or
So so I was a teacher for a really long time, for 15 years, and I have come out of teaching and moved into the life coaching, which is actually very similar roles, and both involve a hell of a lot of talking.
sure. What so when you decided you're going to leave your teaching role, was this something that had come up, or was little Johnny one day just really getting to you, and you're like, Johnny, I swear one more time, if you say that one more time or do that one more time, I'm gonna quit. You just walk out and leave. Was that something, or was it
Uh,
just
the children, no issue with the children whatsoever. I loved that
it's the
aspect of my job.
faculty, the
It's it's
faculty?
it's the other part that comes along with teaching, all the administration and all the constant nothing's ever quite good enough. You know, you work your bottom off, you get
I
great
hear
results, but it's not quite enough.
it's quite political in the
Yes,
teaching game. There's a lot of games you have to play, and if you don't play the game correctly, they're gonna make it a lot more difficult for you unnecessarily.
yes. And I didn't want to climb the career ladder, or as my best work friend used to call it, the slippery pole of doom. So I didn't want. I dismounted the pole of doom, and my face just no longer fit. So that was me, sort of like starting to move sideways acrosswards.
So did you finish out this? Well, I guess over there you still have some sort of a break. But it's
Yeah,
not like you don't have like a 3-month long break during the summer. It's like a month, right? Or somewhere
yeah.
around there.
So I finished off the academic year in July.
Oh, okay. And so this is pretty fresh.
So I've been doing this for a while, but as my main business for a year. But I went back last September, and my partner was very much of the opinion that I couldn't give up till I'd proved that it was this new venture was a viable one. So I worked part-time through the last academic year into to get the business growing and moving, so that I could then prove its viability. So he was happy for me to, say goodbye.
So how do you work part-time as a teacher? How's that work? So that seems like something I feel would be really hard to do part-time, and it would go
Yeah,
pretty quickly back to full-time.
it's a lie. You just don't go to school one or 2 days a week.
It was like, okay, well, this is my time to work on my new venture. And
Yeah,
um I mean, I am very much it's never too late. And I know people who are in their 20s, and they're like, oh, I've been doing this too long. I've been doing this, 10 years or something, 5 years. Like, what else am I going to do? And like, there's still a lot you can do. And I mean, it's important to get to that point of, well, here I can just, I don't know, like, I mean, I can think of how many jobs I've had where it's just, well, I can get another job that'd be just like this, and what's it really matter what I do with it? And I'm not an important spoke in the wheel. I'm nothing that's gonna, it's not, I'm easily replaceable. And so it was nice to be able to let go. And like, I mean, this month, I think, I want to say this month, probably less time. I mean, yeah, I've been able, I've worked, but I've also I've gone to the water slide park 5 times this month.
Very
And
nice.
yeah, so being able to do that, but then still, like, while I'm doing that, most of that time I'm still working, I guess. I'm still thinking up ideas, coming up with ideas, but just being able to do it from not in, because I've had a lot of jobs too where I'll be wanting to take notes for something, or if I have some idea for something and having to stop and then them getting mad at me. But now it's like, do it yourself. And, uh, you know, work doesn't really end. It can, it sort of does somewhat, but I don't know if I found that part where I fully turned off my brain for it from it, but I'm happy with it. I'm not dreading it. And I've been doing it, off and on for um I don't know, maybe 15, 16 years or so. Definitely had
Yeah.
other jobs in there, but I mean, for the most part, just, yeah, like, why not? And it's so, so you got done the last day. So, like, my last day of high school, which was more than a little while ago, I remember I ran out the door. I ran to my car and I drove off, didn't say anything to anybody, and I was just gone. That was it. What was it like your last day of school? Like, did you go up to the other teachers or the other administrators and say anything, or were you just ran out to your car and go home and or go, get something nice for yourself somewhere at a little stop on the way home?
I went and said goodbye to my best work friend, and then we escaped in her car to go and have drinks and food to
Oh,
celebrate
beautiful.
that
Okay.
I'd got out. But I did not particularly want to see anybody else as I exited the building.
What did she do?
So
Is she still working there?
yeah, she's still working there. So I still have obviously connections with the school for the next little while she continues to work there. So it's nice in one way because I'll know that I'll be able to hear about the children that, because a little bit like all things, when you do a job where you care about, where it's all about care and helping people, it's very difficult to let go of certain
Right.
characters.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty of characters in the teaching game.
Oh yes, especially when you teach high school.
Oh, geez.
All the
Okay, yeah,
way.
I can imagine. What were you teaching?
Science.
Okay, and so I mean, for the most part, so because it's a required course. So did you have uh kids that were right off the bat not really wanting to do that? Because, like, I know myself, I even had to do it in college. I had to take science classes for my major, which had zero to do with science, but I had to take, I think, 3 different science classes. And so, I mean, what did you end up doing with those kids? And then did that kind of bleed over with into your new venture with clients who being able to kind of get them into whatever, even if they're not, even if they don't know that they want to be there yet.
Yes, I have. I was always known for this specialized technique whereby I could always pull along even the most bored and uninterested child with me as I went. Not always forever, but certainly for long enough to get them to the other side of their exam results. And I do tend to find that, not all the time, but in one or two cases, sometimes clients need me to lead the way and to take their hand and to pull them into the future rather than just walk beside them.
And so what happens with that? What's kind of your method between the two, as far as I mean, so as I mean it's in case by case, but like the kind of, I don't know if care is the right word, kind of offering you have. I mean, is it a more intense plan with someone else who may need something, or is it the same plan, just sort of varied a bit person to person, or does it completely change?
It roughly, the groundwork is the same because we all start from the same space, not exactly the same space, but we all start as if we're all in the same space, and then we build the program based on where it is that the people need to go or want to go and how far into their journey they are, or if they're, because some people come to me and they're right at the start of their journey and they need more scaffolding and more support in those first steps, and sometimes people are quite a way into their journey and just need help with looking at how to keep moving forward and what things they can put in place to help them to be where they want to be.
And so, I mean, what kind of, as far as getting plans together, so now, because I guess kind of a two-part question. So now with the advancement of AI and that, as far as, were you getting a lot of kids you think that were using it for your assignments, or could you really tell? Is it just sort of, you sort of know or you don't in it? There's not a lot of conceptual theory in science, and you just
Sometimes, I mean, even before AI became a massive thing, you can sort of tell when a student's typed something into Google and it have just copied and pasted what's come up on the page in front of them. Most students aren't mature enough to know that they need to go in and throw a few extra words in to make it sound more like their own. I think that with the advancement in AI, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because they've got to ask the right questions to get the information that they need. So they are still doing the work, they're just maybe they're not writing it quite in the way that they would normally write it, which again is usually quite the spot when they've used words, actual words, not just but.
right. And if you see the but, you're like, oh, okay, they wrote this. That's what they really wrote. It sounds like them. I hear them every day, and they like saying those words. So, but
it's always, especially with having taught science, there are obviously some quite big, complicated scientific words, and you'll see them in a piece and you're like, wow, I like that word. And then you read a bit more, like, this child has not written this piece of work.
yeah.
They do not even know what this word means, but okay.
But here it is. Here they have it in here. And
yeah.
So, well, I mean, what got you? What was teaching something that was something that you were thinking about before, like when you were a kid and you're just gonna say, I'm gonna be a teacher, or did it get to a point where, well, teaching would be nice, or was it something else?
It's much more complicated than that. So when I was about 12, I wanted to be a teacher. and my teachers told me, no, don't do that, don't waste your talent, do something else. So I thought,
Oh.
okay, I'll be a storm chaser. So I went through and I was like, I'm going to be a storm chaser, and then I got to my A levels and I didn't particularly enjoy physics very much, and I needed a lot of physics to go on to be a storm chaser. But I enjoyed chemistry, so I went off to university to study chemistry instead and got into novel drug development, like anti-cancer research and all that sort of thing. So I was then heading down the path when I was at university that I was going to go into cancer treatment medication. And then I discovered that was really boring, in that you were in a lab all the time and there were so few people to talk to, and it was just very monotonous. And I'm not the sort of person that can cope with that sort of just closed inness. I'm not one to be caged. So I had no clue what I was going to do when I finished my degree. And my youngest brother is considerably younger than me. He was going through his first set of exams and didn't know what he was doing. So I helped him, did some revision with him, helped him, got him through his science GCSEs. And my mum and dad were like, why not teaching? And I was like, give it a go. We'll see what happens. 15 years later, still was at it.
So did you ever get to find that teacher who told you, no, don't do it?
I did. And I went through what I'd done and all the other things. And she was like, well, that you've tried all these different things and found that that's not for you, but you're enjoying this, then I was wrong, you were right. Good for you.
How'd that turn out?
Well, I think it was the right career choice. I enjoyed it greatly, being a teacher for the time that I was, well, the vast majority of the time I was there. It helped me because you don't have to sit still as a teacher. You can bounce around all you like. You can be as crazy as you like. Nobody particularly cages you, and the days are all different. So for someone like with my energy, that's very good.
What I meant was, like, when you went up to tell her that I'm a teacher now, what's up? Yeah, I'm a teacher. I mean, how was that? Was that nice to be able to? Yeah, I thought about that. I had a guidance counselor told me that what I wanted to be was like, hey, that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. You never do it. And then I never talked to him. I don't know if the guy's even alive now, but so I mean, how'd that turn out? Was that something that felt good to do, or was it just?
It did. She was quite respectful with her like opinion about it. But I think she still probably thinks that I should have done something else in my life, but it's not what I chose to do.
Do you think it was something that she would have chose for you would have been what you're doing now, or do you think it would have been something different?
I think she would have chosen the drug development stuff, because I think she thought that was the sort of role that she could see me doing and that I would be quite successful in. But it just didn't fit my personality.
Yeah, and success is a relative term.
Yeah. I think if she saw what I was doing now, she'd think it was worthwhile, and she would probably think it was a better fit than the teaching for me. But I don't think it's what she would have seen for me.
She's still around?
Yes,
could you see her, and have you haven't talked to her since you left?
No, I have not, but I might see her soon.
Is she in the same school? Did you stay in the same school district or same school?
So she not in the town where I live, she works in the school in the town where I live. So normally I see her when I'm out and about in town sometimes. There is a good chance that I could see her.
Oh, okay. And so then are you gonna
yes, with pride.
Yeah.
I will go up to her and say, I quit my job, and she'll be like, oh gosh, what are you doing now?
And say, well, hey, do you maybe you'd like to come be my client?
Come join us.
Yeah. And so, I mean, as far as like, so for back to the AI, I mean, so with 4 years ago or so, I had to write a business plan, and that was I had someone help me, and it still took me a long time, a lot of revisions. And now with AI being able to write up business plans, write up course outlines, write up um, I don't know, tweets or things to talk about every day. Has that been able to help you, or have you gone into that down that path of finding extra help from old artificial intelligence, or has that been I don't know, because I don't know, because I'm at an age where I'm in the middle. I lived a very analog life, but I also live a very digital life right now, and so I'm very back and forth on it. But I feel if not using it, a lot of people are going to use it, and whoever's not using it's going to kind of get left behind. Sort of like with computers. Not everyone, but a lot of people. Where are you?
I've dabbled. So I'm still very much in the I want to do it myself, but a little bit like also, well, if I can get help on some of the things that I don't particularly enjoy doing, why shouldn't I use this to help me on those bits and pieces? It's something that, a little bit like you, I'm sort of in the middle. I have lived an analog life and now a more digital life. So it's something that I have to tell myself to be interested in, rather than my son who's just like, oh, this can do it for you. Why have you not tried this? Have you just see this and this is what will happen? I'm like, great, okay, wonderful. Show me more. But I think like you say, if you don't at least try, you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah. And I mean, there's very much the why do anything anymore question, which as a kid, of course, you'd ask that, because but then they also, I remember, you're not gonna have a calculator in your pocket the rest of your life. You're gonna have to know how to do this stuff. And okay, yeah, and then now we don't need it. But the ability to learn anything you want to learn right now is very much available. I mean, from any schoolwork, going through from being a kid all the way up through university. Harvard, Stanford, MIT all have all their courses online for free, all their books, all their papers. YouTube University has anything you ever want to learn. And if you can't find it on there, you have access to every book. You don't even know the Dewey Decimal System. You can just keep learning. So there's very much the why do I have to learn it? But I do hope that saying that they're taking that time to want to learn something new and learn how to do something. Because I mean, like, if I would have had that when I was growing up and been able to focus on something that I really enjoy as opposed to what was kind of expected of me, I feel like I would have had a better been a better place as far as that. And but I don't know. I feel I just hope that there's still the want to learn, as opposed to wanting to watch someone else learn. There's I talk about this on one of my other podcasts with one of my co-hosts that that a lot of kids now would rather watch someone play video games as opposed to play video games, or watch someone open presents as opposed to themselves opening up presents. And I don't know. I hope that, there's still a want to learn. And so I think learning is very important, and getting out there and doing your own thing is very important. And
It
I
is,
don't know.
and from my point of view, a lot of what I do is helping people to learn about themselves and about pushing themselves forward from where they are. So there is still the want for people to learn. I think it's just what people want to learn.
And so then are you, the people that are coming to you, do you think they're coming in too late, or are they, I mean, could they come in earlier, or is it like whenever you are at that point, or is it like, hey, I should be checking this out and kind of be there before they're coming to you? Where do you think people are when they end up getting to you?
At the moment, it's quite a spectrum. So some people come quite early on in what they're facing, and then that tends to be an easier ride for me because it's easier to pull them through. But a lot of people come when they've reached the point of no return, and they're in that crisis mode, and they've tried to do it themselves and they haven't found the tools that they need, and they're desperate for help. That's the point where most people come to me. If people could see where some of the people that I'm now working with have seen a little earlier down the path, it makes life so much easier for them moving forward. But quite often we don't see that crisis is coming until we're already in it.
Exactly. And yeah, so it makes it easier to, hindsight to like, oh yeah, I probably should have done this 4 years ago. And so then what's marketing like for you? Is that word of mouth? Is that going on to podcasts, or is that finding news outlets, or SEO stuff?
There's a lot. So at the moment, so a lot of my original clients were word of mouth, but having covered that particular group of people quite effectively, I now need to get my message out to a wider audience. So hence the couple of podcasts that I've been on, more SEO, trying to be more, again, something that I've had to learn about as I've gone. Ads on Facebook, which I don't particularly agree with but sometimes, especially when I've got an offer out, it's a good way to get more people to see it quite quickly. Networking, just talking about myself, my business quite often is something that I've found, because I like to talk. So I find that once I get going, it's very difficult to stop me. So that's why I keep reining myself back in, because I know that once I go, I could be like chatting away forever. But yeah, no, they're the sort of things. Been on a couple of blogs as well so far. So just keeping all my options open until I find the one that works really well for me.
So are you branching off and doing a blog, podcast, book, any of those things to then in turn get more people to being from in your position you are in currently to being the person providing those? Or is that something that's not in your lane? Or is that
blogging is in my lane? So I do part of my website, there is a blog. I do upload content to that fairly regularly. I have a book, but it's not published, and it probably might never be published because it's quite personal, but I don't know. There are two little books that I've written about my experiences that would probably be helpful to the people that I help. I need to possibly let them out into the world for testing to see if people think they would be useful before I then actually think about publishing them.
what's the stop on it for? Is it too personal? Is it something that you are unsure about right now, or what's the block right now from going out and publishing it?
It's just the same block that I always have, the fear of being laughed at. I don't think my
Well-
story is actually a laughable story, but just when I was younger, I got laughed at when I would raise my hand in class. And I think that's just stuck with me. You put yourself out there, people laugh at you. So I've had to overcome quite a lot of that to get myself out there with the business.
Well, and one thing I like to say, it's not the most uh, eloquent phrase, but once you shit your pants, you can't shit your pants anymore. And sometimes you just got to shit your pants. And so, like, I mean, once you get to that point where it's like you just really get to a point where you just don't care and it's out there and it can't get worse. And I mean, I've kind of same thing, always had worried about raise my hand and saying something that's it's like, because I've had teachers like, oh, that was stupid, or something like that, and that something that that had subconsciously stuck with me, and for some reason it was a block, and not realizing it until 20 some years later, and then finally finding time to work through some of that stuff. And yeah, it's really get to a part of it's not worth it to care. And if I don't know, there's not really bad press. You
No.
know, your fans are great. Your fans are great. But the haters, they're going to be talking. If they people are going to hate anyway at some point. Like, not everyone's going to like everything you do, and that's great. But those people do talk, and that gets your word out too. And there's nothing wrong with that.
All publicity is good publicity.
All publicity is good publicity, and it's okay to be laughed at, but it's also being vulnerable enough to be laughed at, and it's okay. And it might encourage somebody else who might be being laughed at, and just being able to get past that sooner. And
That is the whole point of my work, is to help people get past the things that I struggled with faster, because I didn't have the person to reach out and help me when I needed someone to reach out and help me. So I want to be that person for people who find themselves in a similar situation to me, so I can help them so they can get to the point that I'm at now faster.
so you know how to do this, but
Yes,
you're not doing it.
I am. And I mean, I wrote the books. That was a good start.
That was a great start.
I just need to get them out there. I don't really know what's stopping me other than the laughing at, to be honest.
You do know what's stopping you. You know exactly what's stopping you, and only you know what's stopping you.
Yeah.
And
Just need to get
that's
them
up
out
to you. If you want to, you can, but you're the only person that knows what's stopping you. There's no external force stopping you. You can go and you can publish a book on Amazon within an hour. It's out there. It's something that's there. And yeah,
The
I mean,
thing is, as well, though, they're beautiful stories. They're such hopeful and honest stories that there isn't anything like, there's nothing bad there. It's nothing like, yes, bad things happened, but it's all turned out all right in the end. But it's turned out all right because of a lot of hard work, and that if people can see that, it would help people to then just be able to see that actually, okay, yes, there was a lot of hard work involved. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and everything was fixed. Has taken a lot of work.
yeah, and it still is a work in progress, as it always is. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to push you to put your book out, but I may nudge you a little bit on that,
When
especially
you
if you
see
have
it,
two.
well, they're very beautiful books. One's called Saving Sarah and one's called Loving Lucas. So beautiful little titles. Very important books to me, to my little heart.
And so is that kind of what I mean? Would
I
it
don't. The Saving Sarah one, probably not so much, because I've talked a lot about the fact that it's all about how I overcame my chronic, or how I'm overcoming my chronic health condition. I had a stroke when I was 29, and that left me, discovering that I had quite significant brain damage, and I had this horrible underlying condition, and all the stuff that I had to do to overcome that. At that point, when I was diagnosed, my fairly new husband left me and my son. So there's a lot of story there that sounds like it's going to be really bad, but it's really hopeful, because I am able to move all my limbs. I'm able to talk. I do have problems still, but you're not going to have a stroke and not have some sort of residual problem. So I think it's a beautiful story of hope, and I would genuinely hope motivation to people who find themselves in any sort of diagnosis of a chronic illness condition, that if you just keep going and making tiny baby steps forward, life can get significantly better from where you find yourself right now at the moment.
And so with your stroke, did
Yes.
before you had, because I know I have a good buddy, and then I had somebody else on this show who had one who was around that same age. Before it happened, maybe within the year before, did you have a kind of a radical positive change in your health, and like wanting to make yourself better, like going? No, okay.
No.
So
So
this is
18 months
different.
18 months before I had my stroke, I had my son, and that was a very traumatic experience, hence the second book, Loving Lucas. And my health deteriorated gradually over the 18 months until I had the stroke, because of the condition that I have that caused the stroke, that should also have meant that my very beautiful little Lucas never actually made it into the world in the first place. So that story is especially beautiful.
Yeah. And so then that's one of your stories that that's kind of a hard one.
Yeah,
And
the
still,
Lucas one, he was 3 months early, weighed 2 pounds. They didn't rate his chances, and now he's going to be 11 on Monday, and he's beautiful and fabulous, and you'd never know. So possibly, even if my battle to win over my own health hasn't been as successful as I would have liked at times, my battle to get him to where he should be has 100% been successful.
wait, to where he should be right now? What do you mean?
So he was, because of his prematurity, he was developmentally delayed. So he didn't sit up until he was a year old, and he didn't walk till he was nearly 3, and he didn't talk till he was nearly 3.
Okay. I misunderstood you. I thought you meant like you lost him.
No, sorry, no. He
Okay, that
came.
I was like,
So
okay,
that would be
that
very
changes.
different. Sorry.
Okay, no,
No,
don't be
so
sorry. I just misunderstood you on that. I was thinking, wow, okay, all right. So, but that's a great story then. And so, I mean, yeah, being able to have positive coming out of that. I mean, um, okay, yeah.
a lot
And
of
so,
blood, sweat, and tears.
sure, probably literally.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what was your reaction when that hit? Was it just, oh shit? Or did you know how severe it was? Or was it just all of a sudden nothing was working
Which
right?
one? My stroke.
Yeah, let's go with your stroke.
Well, we can go with Lucas. We can go with either. I don't
Yeah,
particularly mind.
let's do both.
Okay, so I wasn't a very well pregnant person at all. I had constant morning sickness all day, every day, and I didn't feel particular. I wasn't one of these glowing mothers. I didn't have a particularly big bump, and everything seemed to be okay. Like, we went to the scans, they were all everybody was saying thumbs up, everything's all right. And I went to my 25-week doctor's appointment, and they blue lighted me to hospital because my blood pressure was through the roof, and I had what's known as severe preeclampsia. So my body was very slowly shutting itself down. He wasn't getting enough of anything, so he was really tiny, he wasn't growing. My placenta was just a mishmash of blood clots. So I didn't really have any inkling that anything was wrong, because unbeknownst to me, because I wasn't diagnosed at that point, high blood pressure was something that I was dealing with on the fairly regular, as I was having blood clots in my normal life, and it just would push my blood pressure up and then bring it back down. So I didn't necessarily feel unwell until I was in hospital. And once I got into the hospital, then everything hit me like a ton of bricks, and I was like, well, it can't be that bad, can it, in this day and age? Modern medicine's brilliant. And they were like, babies still die, women still die. And I was like, no, they don't. This is 2012. Women don't die from this. They died from this in 1912, not 2012. And they're like, no, 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 no.
Oh, so did that strike fear in you, or were you still have the same sort of outlook on that?
I was, at the
When
time when they
you-
said it, I was terrified, but I was more afraid that they were going to deliver him imminently and that he would stand no chance. So I dug my heels in and said, don't worry about me. Let's get him to the point where he will come out and be able to fight as much as possible, because he's the one that, you know, if my body's doing such a rubbish job, yes, we need to get him out before he's technically ready, but is the stuff that we can do. So, like, they gave me steroids to help to mature his lungs faster, to dry his lungs out, so that when he came out, he wouldn't have so much difficulty breathing. They gave me extra injections to help try and reduce some of the blood clots, so he was getting a bit more oxygen and food. So we tried, and I didn't hold on for too much longer, but I held on for long enough for him to come out and for his, although scarred, for his lungs to be okay. So
it's pretty impressive. And yeah,
I think
mean,
it's a mum thing. Mums will all be like going, yes, yes, that would be me. I would be like, I'll do
Yeah.
anything for my child.
and you did, and it
did.
worked out pretty darn well.
It did, but I have to admit there was a good period of time when I thought I hadn't done the right thing, and or that it didn't matter anyway, that it wasn't going to be enough. But it was. We're at the point where I used to sit in the hospital looking in his incubator, holding his little hand through the little holes in the incubator, just being like, in 10 years time this will all be over and you'll be this happy bouncy boy and it'll be fabulous. And to be at that point now, to feel like I blinked and I woke up and the nightmares behind us and the futures are just exactly as I imagined it would be.
Is that the start of the book? Where you are now, and then, well, let's flash back to 2012, and then
Yeah.
this is where it all. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that one starts in reverse, whereas the Saving Sara story starts at the beginning and works its way forward.
Is the Saving Sara one about your stroke?
Yes.
And so you didn't have any let's see, any indications that was coming, or
No.
was
Because so I had at least one previous stroke when I was younger, but I had what's known as a silent stroke, so I didn't have the symptoms that doctors tell you to look for in a stroke. So I didn't, in the first one, I didn't lose any movement on my left arm or my left leg. I just lost some vision. So I went to get it checked and they were just like, oh, no, it's nothing, don't worry about it.
Whoa.
And Yeah.
How
So
old were you?
when that happened, I was 19. So 10 years between the two. And in the space in between, there were more small blood clots that caused like little TIAs that damaged more of my brain, which was unfortunate. All the way up until this one at 29. So I have this beautiful I have two beautiful MRI pictures of my brain, one when I was 19 where it looks fairly normal, and then one from 29, and all you can see is this 50p piece of brain that's missing. And I'm just like, hey ho. And I know I'm really lucky, and I think that's what makes me more keen to get my message out there and to help people, in that I am slightly visually impaired. I can't see very well out of this eye all the time, but that's a small price to pay, because I can move, I can talk, I can communicate. I'm still me. This sense of humor has always been the same. It's not like, maybe it's got a little darker as we've gone on, but it's not.
It makes it fun.
I've always been, the person that I am now is the person that I was then as well.
Yeah. And so then when you get people that are coming to you, like, are you like, what's the first thing that you do with them when I guess when they reach out to you, and then once they decide that they want to come on as your client, do you have first thing you do with them, or is it kind of different for each person?
No, the first thing is the same with everyone. We sit down and we just chat like this for about an hour, and I just get their story. Just like they just tell me everything that's going on, everything that has gone on, how they've got to the point where they're at, and just try and unpick where we're starting from, and then we decide where we're going to from that. Yeah. I've heard a lot of very interesting stories.
And wherever it starts from, it's usually not where it really starts from.
Yes, and that's usually the point of us sitting and chatting for so long, is because people will start with where they are right now, and they'll happily skirt around maybe the 6 months or the year prior to that, but they don't want to go back to the thing that actually started it all off in the first place.
And then you find that, and you're like, oh, okay, well, we should have been talking about this first. Let's go back here. And now, you gotta go through that.
Let's peel the onion.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that onion has got some layers. Let's get through it. The first thing on the top, the outer layer of the onion, is not what's going to get you on that right path. It's gonna start, but it's not gonna do nearly enough.
So very true.
And so then when people want to work with you and they want to find you, where are they going to go? How are they going to find you? Like I said, not where in the world they're going to find you, but where on the World Wide Web. Are you working? Is it all online, or you have an office?
No, it's all online. So
good idea.
I will work with absolutely anybody who wants to work with me in any part of the world. We can organize that and arrange that without too much of a problem. So yeah, all online. I have my website, Sara Stepping Stones. You can find me on most social media via Sara Stepping Stones also.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'll put that in the show notes, so you can just probably have a link there to click it. Yeah, it'll be anywhere. Yeah. Listen to podcasts on Rumble, not on YouTube right now, because I have some trouble with YouTube right now. I'm in YouTube jail for, I think, another week and a half. So, and then I'll be able to upload again. But I said something. They won't tell me what it was that I said that I was talking about. But I'll find out, I guess. Maybe. Yeah. There's some they didn't like. So, but eventually it'll be on YouTube. So, but yeah, thank you so much for being on here, Sarah, and getting to talk about whatever we ended up talking about, and got to wherever we got to talk about. And I enjoyed it.
You're most welcome. It's been a very lovely conversation.
Absolutely. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right.
Thank you very much. It was very lovely to meet you.
Likewise. All right. Bye. All right. Sarah Davies, you guys, thank you for being here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QG, and on the podcast, the Public Access Podcast. And yeah, you guys check her out. I'll leave the links in there for you to find her. And I will see you soon. I think I have a show tomorrow. I believe I do. I'm not going to go to the water park tomorrow. Probably. I think I have it set in the middle of the day when I would go to the water park. But get that in. You guys quit your job, go do water slides. And thank you for being here. And check out their shows on the network. And thank you to our sponsors, Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Stoner Eats Productions, Hardcore Entertainment, Hypnosis is Great, and Sock 'em Up. Check out sockemup.org. And if you guys want to get a hold of me, find me, go to rustydiamond.net. They'll have everything you need. Yeah, that's easy. rustydiamond.net. You can find me, message me. I don't care. There's my phone number on there, even if you want. You can call that. So, you guys, that is the show. Man, boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?